Hi everyone. Today I am excited to present our project, a look into astrology ideas, evidence, and criticism for our Psychology 100 class at Capilano University. So, what is astrology? Astrology is based on the belief that positions of celestial bodies like the sun, moon, and planets influence human personality, emotions, and even life events. Although astrology is considered a pseudoscience, it has gained immense popularity over the years. In fact, a 2024 survey shows that 95% of Americans know their star signs, and many people regularly turn to horoscopes for advice or entertainment. But despite this widespread belief, astrology lacks scientific support. So, what makes scientists label this as a pseudoscience? That's exactly what we explore in this project. Here's a quick overview of what we'll cover. We look at the contributions of famous figures like Ptolemy, Abu Mashar, Nostradamus, Alan Leo, and Carl Jung, whose ideas helped shape modern astrology. We'll discuss popular techniques like birth charts, horoscopes, synastry, and predictive astrology to understand how astrologers make their predictions. We'll analyze why scientists classify astrology as a pseudoscience, focusing on the lack of empirical evidence, the Barnum effect, and the role of confirmation bias. Lastly, we'll reflect on astrology's lasting influence in modern society and the importance of using critical thinking when evaluating pseudoscientific beliefs.
Hi everyone. Today I'll take you through the fascinating history of astrology and introduce you to some of the most influential figures who shaped this practice. Astrology has captivated people for centuries, and the thinkers I'll discuss today played a crucial role in its evolution. Astrology is the study of how celestial bodies influence human life. While modern science does not fully accept astrology, its impact on culture, traditions, and personal belief system is undeniable. Many key thinkers across different historical periods contributed to the development and survival of astrology. Today, I'll introduce six major figures whose ideas shaped astrology as we know it. Our journey begins with Claudius Ptolemy, a Greco-Roman scholar from 2nd century. He was not only an astrologer but also a mathematician. His most famous work, Tetrabiblos, remains one of the most significant texts in Western astrology. Ptolemy attempted to establish a scientific foundation for astrology, connecting celestial movements with earthly events. Although his geocentric model was eventually proven incorrect, his ideas influenced in astrology for centuries. Moving forward in time, we meet Abu Mashar al-Balkhi, a Persian scholar from the 19th century. He played a crucial role in merging Hellenistic and Indian astrological traditions, helping astrology gain recognition in medieval Europe. His book, The Great Introduction to the Science of Astrology, spread astrological knowledge across cultures. His work gave astrology a sense of intellectual credibility during the Islamic Golden Age. Nostradamus. Next, we have the most important and most famous names in astrology. Born in 1503, this French doctor turned astrologer became renowned for his cryptic prophecies. His book, Les Prophéties, is still widely discussed today. Nostradamus contributed to keeping astrology in the public imagination, blending astrology with esoteric predictions. While his methods were not systematic, his influence was undeniable. Fast forward to the 19th century and we meet Alan Leo, often called the father of psychological astrology. Unlike earlier astrologers who focused on predicting the future, Leo shifted attention towards self discovery. His book, Astrology for All popularized the idea that astrology could be used for personal growth rather than just fortune telling. This shift made astrology more appealing to modern audience. Interestingly, a significant psychological perspective on astrology came from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology. While Jung was not an astrologer himself, his theory of archetypes and synchronicities provided a framework that astrologers quickly adopted. His work gave astrology an intellectual foundations, connecting it to the emerging field of psychology. Bringing up to the present day's Liz Green, a well known psychologist and astrologer. Liz seamlessly blends Jungian psychology with astrological symbolism in her writings, such as Relating and the Psychology of Fate. Her work continues to shape modern astrology, emphasizing self awareness and personal development. As we have seen, astrology has evolved significantly over the centuries and shaped by intellectual giants from different cultural and historical backgrounds. From Ptolemy's scientific approach to Liz's psychological interpretations, these thinkers have ensured that astrology remains relevant despite changing times. Their contributions have allowed astrology to persist in popular culture and personal belief systems even today. Thank you.
For thousands of years, humans have gazed at night sky searching for meaning in the stars across different civilizations. Astrology has been a guiding force, helping people understand their lives and destinies. Some see it as ancient science, while others dismiss it as superstition. But regardless of where you stand, astrology has shaped culture, beliefs, and personal identities for generations. Birth chart analysis, a cosmic blueprint. One of the core foundation of astrology is birth chart analysis. Imagine a snapshot of the sky at the exact moment you were born. This chart, also known as a natal chart, maps out the position of planets and reveals insights about your personality, strengths, and life path. Astrologers believe that each celestial body influences different aspects of your life. Your sun sign represents your core identity, while your moon sign reflects your emotions. Mercury shapes your communication style, Venus governs relationships, and Mars drives your ambition. By interpreting these placements, astrologers claim they can provide guidance on everything from career choices to personal growth. Horoscope podcast. Daily cosmic guidance, we can say. Horoscopes are one of the most widely recognized aspects of astrology. Millions of people check their daily, weekly, or monthly horoscope in newspapers, magazines, and online platforms. These predictions are based on the planetary movements and are designed to offer insight into love, career, and overall well being. But horoscopes are just about predicting the future. Many people find comfort in their messages, using them as tools for reflection. Whether or not they believe in astrology, reading a horoscope can provide reassurance, motivation, or simply a new perspective on life challenges. Astrology and relationship cosmic compatibility, we can say. Astrology is just about an individual personalities. It also plays a role in relationships through a technique called synastry. Astrologers compare two birth charts to assess compatibility. Some believe that certain planetary alignments create human harmony between two people, while others might indicate tension or challenges. For example, a strong connection between Venus and Mars in two charts could signify passion and attraction, while difficult Mercury placements might suggest communication issues. While love is complex and influenced by countless factors beyond astrology, many people turn to zodiac compatibility as fun and intriguing way to understand their relationships. Mundane or electional astrology, predicting the big picture, we can see. Astrology extends beyond personal life. It also has been used to predict world events. Mundane astrology focuses on large scale patterns such as political shifts, economic cycles, and natural disasters. Throughout history, Rulers and leaders have consulted astrologers before making major decisions. In ancient China, imperial courts employed astrologers to interpret celestial signs, while European kings sought guidance from court astrologers on matters of war and diplomacy. Another specialized branch is electional astrology, which helps people to choose their best timing for important life events, whether it's planning a wedding, starting a business, or moving to a new city. Astrology suggests that certain planetary configuration bring success while other may bring obstacles. Why do we believe in astrology? Despite the skepticism of modern science, astrology remains deeply ingrained in human culture. One reason is its historical endurance. It has survived for thousands of years across different cultures and civilizations. Another reason is personal validation. Many people feel that astrology accurately describes their personality and life experience. Even if the descriptions are general, they often resonate at a personal level. Psychology also plays an role in astrology appeal. The Barnum effect explains why people believe vague, general statements about themselves. When someone reads their horoscopes and thinks that's so me, it's often because the statement could apply to almost everyone. Psychology. Additionally, humans are weird to recognize patterns. Astrology provides a structured way to make sense of its certainties, offering a sense of order and meaning in a chaotic world. In conclusion, a controversial but enduring belief, astrology has always been a topic of debate. Some see it as pseudoscience while others view it as meaningful spiritual practice. But no matter where you stand, there is no denying its impact. It continues to influence personal decisions, relationships, and even worldviews. Perhaps astrology's real power doesn't lie in predicting the future, but helping people make sense of the present.
Astrology has long been mistaken for a science. Research has investigated why many people perceive it as scientific. Some of the key factors behind this misunderstanding include scientific literacy, cognitive biases, and cultural influences. Nicolum's study examines why astrology is often considered as a science. One of the primary assumptions is that scientific literacy plays a significant role in distinguishing science from pseudoscience. People with deeper scientific knowledge are generally less likely to perceive astrology as scientific. This suggests that a lack of understanding of scientific principles may contribute to the belief in astrology. The terminology that's being used can affect public perception. People are more likely to see astrology as scientific compared to horoscopes. Confusion between astrology and astronomy can enhance astrology's perceived credibility. The way the information is framed or presented can significantly influence how the public interprets its scientific legitimacy. There are many psychological biases that contribute to the belief in astrology. One example is the Barnum effect, where people find vague and general statements personally relevant. Confirmation bias also plays a role, where people tend to focus on evidence that supports their beliefs while ignoring contradictory information. There are studies that suggest that individuals with authoritarian tendencies are more likely to accept astrology as a valid belief system. Culture and religion can also have significant impact on how astrology is perceived. Studies show that religious individuals, particularly Catholics, are more likely to view astrology as scientific. There are also people from former Eastern Bloc countries who tend to have a stronger belief in astrology. This is likely influenced by historical and educational backgrounds that shape their understanding of astrology. Nicolas Campion's research explores astrology's role across different cultures. Similar to religious beliefs, astrology provides people with meaning and structure in their lives. There are different forms of astrology. One of them being natural astrology, which basically suggests that the celestial bodies broadly influence earthly events, and the other form being judicial astrology, which basically involves making personal predictions based on horoscopes.
According to Oxford Dictionary, pseudoscience is defined as theories, ideas, or explanations that are represented as scientific but that are not derived from science or the scientific method. Astrology is officially classified as a pseudoscience due to its many flaws, which disqualify it from being a scientific theory. The main criticisms of astrology are the lack of empirical evidence to support the theory, the various studies that disprove astrology, the fact it strongly relies on anecdotal evidence and focuses exclusively on correlation, and, most importantly, the fact that the theory is unfalsifiable. A major flaw in the theory of astrology is the fact that it lacks the empirical evidence required for it to be accepted as a scientific theory. Scientific theories require large amounts of scientifically tested and peer-reviewed data to be accepted within the scientific community, and astrology does not meet this standard. Astrologers often try to provide studies that support astrology, but these studies often either do not follow the correct procedures to be considered valid, are taken out of context or misrepresented by the astrologers, or the studies themselves are outdated and have been disproven. On the other hand, there is a wealth of scientific and peer-reviewed studies that rigorously disprove astrology. Notable ones include the 2006 study that found no relationship between a person's date of birth and their personality. Another one is the recent 2020 study that determined there was no validity in astrology's ability to predict romance compatibility. And even ones as far back as 1985, such as the famous double-blind study by Carlson that found astrologers could not predict a person's personality based on their star sign better than someone picking it by chance. To supplement the lack of empirical evidence, astrologists instead rely on anecdotal evidence, such as personal testimonies or experiences, to try and prove the validity of their theory. However, while anecdotal evidence is sometimes used to support scientific theories, it needs to be rigorously tested in order to confirm its validity. The problem with relying on anecdotal evidence is that it can be influenced by an individual's pre-existing beliefs and biases, rendering the evidence unreliable. One phenomenon that affects the validity of anecdotal evidence is confirmation bias, which is heavily prevalent in astrology. Confirmation bias is the psychological phenomenon in which people unintentionally favor information that reinforces their pre-existing beliefs. For astrology, this often causes people to recall the few times astrology accurately predicted something while ignoring the many times the predictions were false. Another flaw in the theory of astrology is how astrologers solely focus on proving a correlation exists without any regard for discerning between cause and effect. For example, if a scientific study found a positive correlation between someone's personality traits and the month they were born, that does not automatically prove astrology is correct. The reason that astrologers often focus on correlation is because finding the cause is much harder, especially when it comes to complicated subjects such as personality, which can be influenced by a wide array of factors, making it impossible to confirm that something was solely influenced by something like astrology. Finally, and most importantly, the theory of astrology is unfalsifiable, which directly disqualifies it from being a scientific theory. To be falsifiable, a scientific theory or hypothesis must be able to be proven false. Falsifiability is often used to distinguish between sciences and pseudosciences. It is impossible to prove that the stars do not affect our lives in some capacity, which means that astrology is unfalsifiable and therefore cannot be classified as a science.
As we wrap up our project, let's go over some of the key takeaways. Astrology has a rich historical background with influences from notable figures like Ptolemy and Nostradamus. Techniques such as birth charts, horoscopes, and synastry continue to shape modern astrological practices and attract millions of believers worldwide. However, despite its popularity, scientific studies consistently show that astrology lacks empirical evidence to support its claims. Psychological phenomena like the Barnum effect explains why people relate to vague, generalized statements, while confirmation bias causes believers to focus on predictions that seem accurate while ignoring those that miss the mark. So, what does this all mean? Even though astrology is not scientifically valid, it holds cultural and psychological significance for many people. For some, astrology provides comfort, guidance, and a sense of connection to the universe. But in today's age of digital misinformation, it's more important than ever to approach pseudoscientific claims with critical thinking. Understanding the difference between science and pseudoscience empowers us to make informed decisions and avoid being misled by unverified beliefs. In conclusion, astrology may not meet the standards of science, but its lasting influence on culture and individual beliefs cannot be ignored. Thank you for your time.